He is a revered prophet, a freer of slaves, a hero of the Bible. He is the father of the Israelites, Moses. Moses' destiny: lead his people to the promised land of Canaan by any means necessary. This is a new look at Moses and the Exodus story. He talks to God, but he's also a brilliant general. He doesn't just lead slaves, he commands an army of mercenary warriors. During the Israelites' 40-year march across the desert, Moses and his army fight battles of biblical proportions and defeat some of the deadliest armies of the ancient world. Moses is a master tactician. Moses is an unrelenting commander. Moses is on the war path to the promised land. The 14th century BC. Under a sweltering sun, Israelite slaves build Egypt, one brick at a time. If they fail, they suffer the consequences. But the Israelites are about to meet their savior. His name is Moses, and his story begins with murder. Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. When Moses had grown up, he went out to his kinsfolk and witnessed their labors. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his kinsmen. He turned this way and that, and seeing no one about, he struck down the Egyptian.
Moses is significant, not only as a great political leader of the Israelites, but he really is the Israelites' first great general. A good reading of the Exodus book of the Bible reveals a first-rate military mind, a commander who knew how to organize troops, how to fight them strategically and tactically, and a man who practiced deception in the military sense, almost as great as any other general in history.
After Moses murders the Egyptian and buries him in the sand, he flees Egypt, escaping into the Sinai desert.
This is a great turning point in Moses' life, according to the Bible. He has sealed his fate in Egypt and is about to start on a path that will ultimately lead him to a great confrontation with Pharaoh, resulting in the exodus from Egypt.
After living many years in the desert, God puts Moses on a path of bloodshed and brutality. God appears as a burning bush and commands Moses to return to Egypt and free the tens of thousands of Israelites from bondage.
And he does exactly that. He goes to Pharaoh and says, "Let my people go." Pharaoh refuses. Then Moses unleashes the fury of God in 10 devastating plagues.
Hail crashes from the sky. Water turns to blood. And the angel of death kills every firstborn Egyptian child.
It's like an apocalyptic horror movie, and Moses, acting as God's mouthpiece, is running the show. Finally, Pharaoh admits that he's beaten, and he frees the Israelites. Now, you'd think that would be the end of the story, roll credits, but suddenly the Pharaoh changes his mind and orders the army to hunt them down and stop them.
God, now in the form of a pillar of smoke and fire, miraculously leads Moses and the Israelites out of Egypt. Then comes one of the most famous miracles of the Bible, the parting of the Sea of Reeds. This is how the Bible explains the Israelites' escape from Egypt. They continue to Canaan, where they eventually claim the land as God-given. But this is just one version of the Exodus story.
It's a great story, and is the foundation upon which Judeo-Christianity is based. God leads the Israelites from bondage to a promised land. You get the whole Passover story and everything. Now, if we stop and retell this story from a military perspective, from a soldier's point of view, we get a very different, a very violent picture.
The real question of trying to understand this retelling of the Exodus is, who are the Israelites? What are they doing in Egypt? And why doesn't Pharaoh want them to leave?
According to the Bible, the Israelites originally migrated from the land of Canaan into Egypt some 2 centuries before Moses' time, around the 14th century BC. They settled in the land called Goshen, a fertile, prosperous area near the border.
And the Bible tells us that they live here for 200 years peacefully coexisting with the Egyptians. But in fact, there are those who believe that the Israelites were more than just coexisting. There's a theory that the Israelites were actually major military players in the defense of Egypt.
This theory comes from reading the Exodus story as a military campaign. Some believe the Israelites might be the same people as the Habaru, a group that includes merchants, construction workers, and farmers, as well as ferocious warriors. If true, the Israelites are likely in the land of Goshen for a very definite reason: to help defend the Egyptian border against attacks from the north.
So the Habiru military mercenary arm can be put in Egyptian service as auxiliary troops settled across that key avenue of invasion to act as a tripwire and defensive troops in the event of an invasion from Canaan.
The powerful Habiru mercenary army is about 1,000 strong. Soon, a new pharaoh rises to power and sees the fighting force as a threat. And he said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are much too numerous for us. Let us deal shrewdly with them, so that they may not increase. Otherwise, in the event of war, they may join our enemies in fighting against us and rise from the ground."
Pharaoh Seti launched several wars to reassert Egyptian authority over Syria and Canaan. Now, when he looks at the route from Canaan to Egypt, what does he see? Israelite settlements. The Israelites have been living on the border for about 200 years, and Seti knows they're originally immigrants from Canaan.
As Egypt's military grip on the land of Canaan slips, Pharaoh Seti fears the Israelites in Goshen will join the Canaanite fight against Egypt.
Now, he didn't expel them. What he did is he set them to labor.
This is the part of the Exodus story when many believe the Egyptians enslaved the Israelites. But that may be historically inaccurate.
In the Christian translation of the Hebrew Bible, the text tells us that the Israelites were set to slavery in the field, making bricks for Pharaoh's cities. But the Hebrew Bible doesn't say any such thing. What the Hebrew Bible doesn't mention the word slavery. It says instead that the Israelites were set to labor and uses the Hebrew term avadim. Avadim means workman or construction worker, or in a technical sense, what we call corvée laborers.